OS that we need. And we've also mentioned what kind of internet browser is okay to be able to work on our kind of knowledge set. Then we have, this is one of the most interesting parts of the website that we'll enter now. We have the browse collection with manuscripts and printed books and periodicals. So we first move to manuscripts. I have already opened the manuscript page. This is how it looks. The manuscript has an entire browse collection. It has general principles of transcription and additional principles of transcription. When we talk about the browse collection, this is where we go. If any manuscript is marked as this, it means that the main series is available at Rabindra Bhavan Vishwabharati. This means that this is the Bengali manuscript file, but Rabindra Bhavan Vishwabharati. And this is the English manuscript file. So technically 2 and 3 are part of 1, because 1 is the total composite series of manuscripts, all languages included, which is available at Rabindra Bhavan at Vishwabharati. The last, of course, is there were many manuscripts which were not in India, which were actually preserved by Houghton University at Harvard. So even that we have accessed and digitized in this knowledge site, and that would be known as the Harvard Rothenstein collection, so HRVD. Following that, we have created a manuscript-wise index, and you can click into the manuscript-wise index and you go straight over here. I have already opened this page for all of you so you can see, but just give me a minute. Let me ask you once again, can you all see the screen?
Yes, ma'am.
Good, good. Okay, so here the manuscript has been divided. These are all images of the manuscript covers from which we have taken the manuscripts. And this is either, if it's a poem or a song, it has been in one column, put in one column. Fiction is over here, drama, non-fiction, others. Now when I look back, I can see that these lines have been slightly removed. This line should have come, this line should have come exactly under this. This line should have come exactly under this, and this line should have come exactly under this. This is an error which remains, and I have taken note of it. When you all want to do such kind of projects again, make sure that the design also looks more professional. At the time when we were doing this, which is again so many years back, and we were still trying to do it at a nascent stage, we were learning how to do it ourselves. I can see that there is some error in design, which should not have happened technically. When you all are working on it, make sure somebody learns up the design bit also. So if you're working in a team, somebody probably will do the typing, and somebody probably will do the programming, somebody will do the coding. There should be somebody who will also work on the design element. Make sure somebody works on the design element and takes care of these errors, so that whatever we had made a mistake, you don't have to repeat it. Now, supposing we go on, and you have to now see that what are the kinds of manuscripts that we looked. We have serially numbered them. We now 25, 26, 28, 36, and this moves on and on to, okay, we have in between 2681, 2682, 2683. Why should we have these three? Under 26.8, why should we have a 1 and 2 and 3? Or maybe a 4 and a 5 and a 6? Why should we have subdivisions? I'll show you what's in one. When you open that, this is what we have for 268.1. Can you see that on the left we have kept the intact cover page of the manuscript, and on the right we now have plain text of whatever we have digitized? This is something I was mentioning yesterday. Can you all see that? Yes. So 26.8 second part. Why have we kept this second part now? I'll show you 26.8.1 once again. This is 26.8.1. Correct? This is 26.8.1. Take a note of the first part of 268 or 26.8, whatever. This is our 26.8.2. Why? What is the difference between 26.8.1 and 26.8.2? I'll also show you 2683. Anybody has a clue why under the same number we have so many different subdivisions? Yes, we were discussing this feature yesterday. These are all different editions. So the point that I'm trying to raise is that the last we have here, from Rabindra Bhavan, the last we have is numbered 479. In Bangla, here it is written Gan, which means it's a song. And this is actually a very famous song. মেঘের কোলে রোদ এসেছে বাদল গেছে টুটি আজ আমাদের ছুটি ও ভাই আজ আমাদের ছুটি. Do you remember what these signs would mean? What would these signs mean? Anybody from yesterday's class? What would this mean, say for instance? You have to plot it from here. This is মেঘের কোলে রোদ হেসেছে বাদল গেছে টুটি আজ আমাদের ছুটি ও ভাই আজ আমাদের ছুটি. Can you notice what's over here?
Yes, ma'am.
What is happening over here? What is the meaning of this sign therefore? I will class, would you please respond to this, otherwise I wouldn't understand. What was originally written over here was Aaj amader chuti o go, Aaj amader chuti. Then Rabindranath had struck off the go, and on top of that he has written bhai. So the new text should read Aaj amader chuti o bhai, Aaj amader chuti. Now when we are trying to create a digital transcript of the manuscript, we just cannot write Aaj amader chuti o bhai, Aaj amader chuti. We also have to acknowledge that it originally was not Aaj amader chuti o bhai. It was Aaj amader chuti O go aaj amader chuti. Now the fact that go got transferred to bhai is a decision that has happened in Rabindranath's mind. When you're creating a digital transcript, and if you can read what has been struck off, then you have to retain that. So this basically means that something, remember we were mentioning something was written but you strike it off, or the author has struck it off, and then something else was written. So you have to maintain both. In bracket, this go suggests this was what originally existed. After that, now we have O, and O is the new addition. Can you understand what I'm saying?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now look here. Wait. The next line in Bangla reads, Ki kori bhai bhebe na pai, poth hariye kon bone jai. Now this bhai over here has been struck off, but struck off with two lines, not one line. This go was struck off with one line, after which on top of go, Rabindranath had written bhai. But here, the bhai was originally written, but Rabindranath has not struck it off with a single line. He has struck it off with both lines, which means it's not a case of confusion. It's a case of genuine error. He struck it off. He wanted to quickly erase the whole word, and he wrote aaj. So when we write aaj, our signal from what we write in O, our signals would be different. Yesterday we were talking about the transcript conventions in which C, go was an error here and bhai is an error here. So both the errors are within double inverted, within third brackets, third parenthesis. But the final O, which comes with 3 lines in third bracket, and here when it comes in 3 plus signs, it comes with an additional comma. That is because it has been struck off with both lines. And finally, therefore, it should read, Ki kori aaj bhebe na pai. This aaj has been written after 2 lines of striking off. Not just a single strike through. It's not a case of whether I'd call you go or bhai. It's more complicated. The author has originally written a different word, ki kori bhai, and he has completely struck it off, and now he wants to write ki kori aaj bhebe na pai. Poth hariye kon bone jai. And please see that again, this kon word has been very rigorously struck off over here. Not even in lines, but in circles and irregular patterns. Can you see and follow what I'm saying? So this transcript convention has to be maintained very carefully. Can you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Good. Likewise, we have till 479. This is the central repository from Rabindra Bhavan Vishwabharati manuscript. That is how the index has been made. Rabindra Bhavan Vishwabharati manuscript RBVBMS 479. Then BMSF is coming to only the Bangla bit. In BMSF, this is Bangla manuscript facsimile. We come up to the last indexing that we have done is 113. 113 appears like this. We got it from Rabindra Bhavan, but it exists already in print, so we just have a machine readable transcript. And it's still a manuscript. It's still not just a digital copy where something has been typed, because you see after one, there are 2 lines which are handwritten over here, which is why this qualifies as a manuscript. And whatever is on the left has been transcribed in plain text, machine readable format on the right. Here you will see মোর হাতে চাও তুমি পারি কি রচিতে তাহা, because মোর হাতে চাও তুমি later on got indexed as পারি কি রচিতে তাহা. So these are very technical things that you have to keep on understanding, and if you make a mistake in this, then your entire project will go topsy-turvy. Then we will start with the English manuscript index. For the English, let's say we'll see this. This also has an additional comment. Page number starts afresh midway, initial pagination continued throughout. Which means the pagination we have followed here is different from the pagination which has happened in the manuscript. In the manuscript, there was some error in the page number. পাণ্ডুলিপির মাঝামাঝি পৃষ্ঠার নতুন ক্রম শুরু হলেও প্রতিলিপিতে প্রাথমিক ক্রমটি বজায় রাখা হয়েছে. This means that in the manuscript, suddenly there has been a break in page and a new page has been started. But however, when we were doing the plain text format, the initial pagination has continued throughout. Can you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
So there is a difference in pagination between the manuscript and our plain text. Yes, who was asking a question? Please ask. Was anybody asking a question? And now we will
No, ma'am.
Okay, now we will see what has happened. See, the manuscript says that serial number 1, which is the beginning of description of an Eastern university, it has 39 pages, which is typed copy and corrected. But serial number 2, which is the spirit of freedom, is on 6 pages. It is typed and corrected by Rabindranath himself. But here, when we are writing it, it comes as one single whole. We have not created that pagination over here. The pagination exists in the manuscript level. Understood? Understood, all of you? Yes, no?
Yes,
Have you
ma'am.
all understood this problem? Okay. Please answer, because I wouldn't know if you're understanding or not. After that, the English manuscripts go on till this far. You can see how it goes. It's the entire list of manuscripts. And from here, we start with the Harvard University. This one also has a comment. New page numbers have been assigned. নতুন করে পৃষ্ঠা সংখ্যা বসানো হয়েছে. When you work, you also make sure that you have one line in English and at least one line in Assamese. If you do not have it in vernaculars, then people who do not understand how to read English will not have complete fun and satisfaction in accessing. This is that original manuscript book which says that here it contains a note to Rosenstein claiming that this is the original manuscript of the Gitanjali. And it is not in India, it's at the Harvard University. Doesn't it feel otherwise nice to see that this is the original manuscript of the Gitanjali, something that fetched the Nobel for this country? This is the original manuscript of that book. Doesn't it feel proud in the head?
Yes, ma'am.
And so this is the first printed copy, the manuscript of the printed copy of the Gitanjali, which was corrected by Rabindranath himself, translated and corrected by Rabindranath himself. Even though this is a print copy, because it has this magnanimous value, the manuscript has to be retained. We just cannot, because this is also a print and this can also be printed, we just cannot ignore the manuscript and keep only this, because this is the first ever manuscript of the printed copy of the English Gitanjali. This is the book that got the Nobel Prize. The fourth also has no page numbers in the original, new page numbers have been assigned. So we'll again see how this goes. Are you finding it interesting? Do you understand the scope and the prospect of digital humanities? How much can be done? It's not just about typing and archiving. See, in the original manuscript, in the English version, there has been some note written. And this entire note has to be transcribed over here. I find it overwhelming. I actually find it overwhelming. I think this is the future of humanities studies. And what level of material is not even available in India? If somebody was to do research on that, what would somebody do? Compulsorily go to Harvard and study? Again, new page number here. If you want to stay in the country and still do research on from the original manuscripts, how would you do if you do not have a digital copy of the original manuscripts? This is the Gito Bitan, collection of songs. ওগো মধুর তোমার শেষ যে না পাই প্রহর হলো শেষ ভুবন জুড়ে রইল লেগে আনন্দ আবেশ দিনান্তের এই এক কোণাতে সন্ধ্যা মেঘের শেষ শোনাতে মন যে আমার গুঞ্জরিছে কোথায় নিরুদ্দেশ. Otherwise, it would have been easy only to read this from some internet resource or some typed book. But the point is, how would you look at what has exactly happened? After Na, he was probably going to write Nai. Probably Rabindranath was going to write Ogo Modhur Tomar Shesh Je Nai Pai. Then he struck off the E, which is why it's still marked over here, that there's something has been struck off. It immediately gives you access into the mind of the author, how the author was thinking when the author was composing a song. Probably he was bothered about the problem of rhyming and rhythming, because Modhur Tomar Shesh Je Nai Pai would be a break in the rhythm than saying Modhur Tomar Shesh Je Na Pai, Prohor Holo Shesh. There is a fluidity in the rhythm, there is a fluidity in the rhyme of the scheme. I think it's absolutely fantastic. What are your comments? What are your reactions on seeing how it is worked, how it is done? Would anybody give me a reaction? Yes? সায়ন্তনের ক্লান্ত ফুলের গন্ধ হওয়ার পরে অঙ্গবিহীন আলিঙ্গনে সকল অঙ্গ ভরে এই গধূলির ধূসরিমায় শ্যামল ধরার সীমায় সীমায় শুনি না বনে বনান্তরে অসীম গানের রেশ. The final line should read শুনি বনে বনান্তরে অসীম গানের রেশ. But Rabindranath was suffering from a doubt himself. First he wrote শুনি বনে বনে অসীম গানের শেষ. Look here where I'm showing right now, where my cursor is. There is a doubt that he originally must have written bone, bone, bonantore. Before that, there is some kind of a scribbling. But eventually he decides to write it as Bunantore. So that has to be made a point over here. Would anybody give me an honest reaction about what you think about this kind of a digital project? Where you can straight get an insight into the mind of the author? This is how an advanced digital humanities project might look. Any comments? Yes, anybody has any comments about what whether you like it, what you think about this whole project, Vichitra? We don't understand what to react because we are so indebted to this project. We are so involved in this project. Half the time we don't understand how to react. But if you can have a reaction, I'd love to take your reaction. Anybody has any reaction? Mhm. More than systematic, do you understand what level of computer programming has gone inside in getting this project to a final level? We're now coming into the browsed collection of printed books and guides. This is apparently easy because you type everything and then everything exists over here. This is not difficult. This you will understand because you anyway will search for work from here in Bengali or in English. Can you mention any work of Rabindranath in English? We can search and see if it appears. Some extremely language and literature expert has to sit with an extremely competent computer engineer to get this work done. Let's say, where the mind is without fear. Five results have been found in 0.047 seconds. Is Parthojit sir in class? Is he there? I can't see. Partho sir, are you there? Devashish Pranchi, is Partho sir there? Because I'm not looking there.
No, ma'am. He's not.
It's not there. You will have to talk to Partho sir probably to develop this. This is easy to develop. But once you develop, you see you get accurate results in less than 1 second. This result was fetched in less than 1 second. Okay, first of all, of course, it's in Gitanjali 35. So why are so many separate tabs over here? First is a Gitanjali, which is one publication from Vishwabharati. Second is Gitanjali 35, because the copyright has been lifted from Rabindranath's works. So probably some other publisher has also developed this. Then separately in a collection of poems, this poem exists otherwise. It also exists in London, the India Society 1912. So every place on earth where this particular poem exists in physical copy, those master copies have been enlisted in this website. That is the beauty of this browser. And it was actually created by a student of computer science engineering who was studying in his third year in Jadavpur University. He was a very young and fresh guy. We were all doing our PhDs on this, so we were like, senior didis and dadas. In Bangla, we call didi and dada. So we were all like senior didis and dadas. But the programmer who worked with us was a very young guy. He was in third year, Jadavpur University Computer Science Engineering Department. They had to do internships. So this guy, we fetched this guy into our project and we asked him to do this as his internship instead of going out and working with big corporates and in IT companies. Single-handedly, he sat with us calmly and he created this search engine and it works so beautifully. Have you all started learning the programming bit? I'll quickly look into the screen once. Have you all started learning the programming, which is your unit 3 and unit 4? 4 is project, unit 3. Have you all started learning that?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Well, you will learn it in this semester itself, I believe. You have to learn how to create these programs, otherwise, it won't make any difference. So that's about searching from printed books and journals. This is easy to understand because once it's typed and it's uploaded, then you can look into anything because it's anyway machine readable. Then we come to bibliography. Okay, I will show you all why we have so many. The index of manuscripts has two kinds of index. One is a manuscript-wise index and the second is a title-wise index. I'll show you everything. First is a bibliography guide, how to follow the bibliography. When you open a certain page, the opening page displays initial letters of titles. Click the letter you want and then the particular title. And now we'll see how it works here. This you have already seen. This is the manuscript-wise index, which is the first manuscript and the second manuscript. This is chronologically ordered. So how the first manuscript actually existed, how it was actually written by Rabindranath. The earlier manuscript is titled 1 and the later manuscript is titled 2. But supposing it's absolutely possible that you don't know what exists in the first manuscript. For that we have this index, that in the first manuscript we can talk about fruit gathering and lover's gift and crossing and fugitive and poems and letters to a friend. But if you do not know of this manuscript in itself, and if you want to start your search with the fugitive, it's absolutely possible that you do not want to start your search with the first manuscript which is available in Ravindra Bhavan. There are two ways of doing it. Some people will do a research in which will go from manuscript to the text, and some people will do a research in which will go from the text to the manuscript. When you go from the text to the manuscript, what will be your first line of search? It can't be Ravindra Bhavan Vishwabharati manuscript 001, isn't it? You have to search through titles. So you have to create a second indexing of manuscripts in which the indexing will not happen as per chronological ordering, but title-wise. Are you following what I'm saying? Yes or no?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So now you will understand that if you were to search alphabetically, say for instance, we'll look at a work called Ocholayoton. Ocholayoton is not available in manuscript 1, in manuscript 2. So if you were to search it manuscript wise, you would have to search 1, 2, 3, 4, go up to 125 and 244 to finally understand Ocholayoton. But if you get it from here because you're searching with O and you search Ocholayoton, you immediately know that it's in 125. Then you open the 125th manuscript. The 125th manuscript has this in itself. So both the searches have to be there. If somebody wants to see what happens in 125, the person should be in a position to go from 125 to Ocholayoton. If somebody wants to know where is Ocholayoton, the person should also be able to figure out how to go from Ocholayoton to manuscript 125. Both the search indexing should exist parallelly in your knowledge site. And see, in this page also we have created 3 separate navigation panels. So supposing you are in this page finally, this page we're calling it the Manuscript Locator. In the Manuscript Locator, we have the transcription guide because it's highly possible that at some point of time you suddenly forget what is the manuscript convention. You immediately have to go back and check the manuscript convention and follow the guide and see what less about. Because the third collation level is actually a search engine level. Can you understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
So the first 2 levels are the more important level. The first level is the most important level, which is the macro collation, to find out exactly how a thing is different from its previous edition or its later edition. The second is also very important because it happens at a finer and segment level. But the third or the word level collation, which gives out your differences and similarities, is basically something which you will also get from your search engine. But the whole package is part of the software which we created called Probhed. Click collation on the, we have to of course give the convention on how to use Probhed. You have to click collation on the home page bar and the bibliographical table will open. Then we have to click on the collation logo in the title column on the left. The section level display will open. Let's see how it works. Let's talk about English poems and songs. Okay, so we will first talk about A Little Flower Blooms. This is the first line of an original poem. We do not have a manuscript or typeset to collate from. So the collation can happen only in plain text. Why is this? Why can the collation happen only in plain text? Any commonsensical answer to that? Why don't we have the manuscript level collation of this particular thing, but we have a manuscript level collation of, say, another poem? Let me see who comes up with the correct answer. Why do we have manuscript level collation for some poems and plain text level collation for some other poems? Yes? Yeah. Because the differences in edition both happen in print. The differences don't exist at the manuscript level. So both the differences exist at the print level, which is why if it exists at the manuscript level, we have to keep it at the manuscript level. If it does not exist as the manuscript level, we cannot just keep it blank. We have to put a dash to show that nothing is applicable. We'll see first one example of a text level collation printed along with other poems of Konica. So that's a comment. This is the text. You can of course increase the font size and decrease the font size. These are additional features which you can do. These of course at your initial level, if you want, you can skip this. How does it matter if the font size can be increased or decreased? This is one that we have, and this is the version that we have. These are the two versions we will collate from. Okay? This exists in the modern review, as you can see. Then we will go to the collation and say we will go to non-fiction. This is interesting. What does this mean? This code means we just discussed, then I'll show you what happens in the code. Yes? This is English manuscript 24. This is the text. This is the image. And these are the two different texts that we need to collate. We'll now open Probed. This is a full-length computer program. You have to understand it at the level of that itself. So this is E24 by 0. So the by 0 is according to the convention. You later on read the convention. Some changes have been made at the first level itself, at the title level. Which means you will see here, can you see that? Wait. Can you see that in blue, the part that is 0 is smaller in size than in orange, the part that is titled 0? Please see very carefully. This is smaller and this is larger, which means what? 0 is, say, the introduction level, which means what? If the introduction of 0 in the first edition is smaller in size than the introduction in the later edition, what does that speak? What does that say? Yes? What does that say of the introduction between two editions?
Ma'am, second edition is more than better.
In the second edition, content has been added to the introduction. And in the main text, one, which is your the rest of the text. The rest of the text is longer. It could be because of spaces, it could be because of words. So can you see over here? Wait. Can you see the blue thing over here? Blue index over here?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So for the part which is the main content has 96.467% of text in the body, and it has 90 in the orange one. The main text has 93.038%. Here it is. Which means what? The main text is lesser. Now, if you count and see, probably both will add up to 100. If you count this 93.08 from one segment and whatever's remaining, 100 minus 93.038 in for orange, and if you count this 96.4, so 100 minus 96.46 for the blue, you'll ultimately see that the whole ratio will add up to 100. That would mean what? That means that whatever content, the whole content is same in both the texts. But in the earlier text, which is your E24, in the earlier text, the introduction area was segregated as lesser in content. The whole content is same, but say the first 2 pages were read as introduction. In the later edition, the first 3 pages of the same content have been read as introduction. Can you understand what I'm saying? Yeah, so probably in the earlier edition, out of 100 pages, say the first three or for first 4 pages were introduction. 5 onwards was main text. In the later version, 1939 version, probably till page 5 is your introduction, and 6 to 100 is your main text. But the whole text is still the same. Have you understood?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, that's so great that if all of you can understand, that's actually very great. And here you will follow exactly what happened to the text, the differences. Probate is a fantastic software. It's a fantastic software. And this is how you can figure out what kind of differences in editions take place. That is Vichitra project for you. Questions, comments, what do you think? And the last bit, of course, is the credits, who has worked in it, who are the different people who gave us suggestions, who are the different people who helped us in different credits and all I'm not showing. That you can, of course, see on your own. I will once again share the link of the project with you so that, let me come to home. If you want to access it at a later time to see how it is, you can see it. I really want to take your feedback on what you think about this digital humanities project, about Project Vichitra. Yes, anybody? Devashish, would you like to give your comments and feedback to what you think is a typical digital humanities project?
Yes, ma'am.
What is your comment
I
after
can
seeing
sense
project?
the amount of hard work put in the project.
Hard work is a different thing. Yes, a lot of hard work has been put in. Do you recognize the usefulness of the project?
Yes, ma'am.
What is the usefulness?
The variety of editions available
So now
in
if
the
anybody
project.
wants to do any research work on Rabindranath Tagore, everything that you earlier thought you wanted to visit a library to do, that you can do in 2 minutes. Then you have to sit with your research and do the rest of your work. Whatever you're searching appears in less than 1 second. Collation results come in a minute or two. So all your life we were taught, all our lives we were taught that figuring these differences out, these similarities out, these comparisons and comparativity out was research in itself. Now we want to tell you these are not researchers. This is something a computer can do in 2 minutes. And in 2 minutes, when you already have the result, now what do you do with it? That is where your research begins. So we have already shifted the wheel of research in humanities many steps forward, about say 5 years forward, 10 years forward. Because you would require 5-10 years to only figure these things out. That you now get in 2 minutes. So we have saved 5 years of your life and condensed it to 2 minutes. For the rest of your 5 years, you can now do analytical research, critical research. Finding is no longer a part of research. Finding can happen in 2 minutes. That is the usefulness of digital humanities, that for any humanities project now, locating, finding, understanding, these are no longer required to be done in the span of 5 years. Remember how we keep getting questions in our university exams? Locate the importance of, or understand the importance, or analyze the differences between. These are typical questions we keep getting. If we create it into a knowledge site, then it's no longer required. This is redundant. In 1 second. This also officially concludes my series of lectures at your department in your university. Uh, I will not give you any more classes officially unless I am again asked to do so. So next 2 days we will have the assignments. All of you prepare well. All speakers should turn your camera and microphone on. 20 to 25 minutes of presentation followed by 5 to 10 minutes of interaction. So did you enjoy these classes in digital humanities? Today is officially concluding the unit 2.
Yes, I enjoyed this.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So yes, then that tomorrow see group 1 and group 2, 12 to 1. Okay? For the next 2 days, I will keep quiet and you all will speak. Okay, thank you. Have a good day, all of you.
Thank you.